Vibes! BJ Armstrong, Mo and Moosey, the Hoop Genius podcast, brought to you by NBA 2K23. If you don't already, get your copy of the game through the link in the description. But today's a beautiful day. Another beautiful day, BJ. We're recording this fresh off another loss for the LA Lakers. A great performance from Russell Westbrook, I must say. You know, he played his first 5 minutes of the game, went 2 from 2 from downtown, 12 points, 2 steals, few assists, couple boards. All these haters can have to eat their words. But anyway, BJ, how was your weekend, my friend?
You know me. Give me another choice. It's all good. It's
Same
all
answer.
love.
Same answer every week. So, you know, we've enjoyed a great start to the NBA season, right? We've seen great, exciting action. We've seen teams surprisingly good. We've seen teams that are not so good. We've seen breakout performances. But it's that time of the year. We're 3 weeks into the season, and the injuries are now starting to hit. So we got a few injuries to talk about today, and I want to get your opinion on them and how they're going to impact the team. Now, the first one is the Phoenix Suns, where Cam Thomas has a torn meniscus. Now,
Cam Johnson.
My bad. It's been a long weekend. It's 1 a.m. on a Sunday night, you guys. You got to bear with me. Cam Johnson. My bad. Cam Thomas is on the Brooklyn Nets. Okay. But anyway, the Phoenix Suns have got Cam Johnson, who they put in the starting lineup this season, to have surgery on his torn meniscus in his right knee. Now, this is a horrible problem to have. But for the Phoenix Suns, they could really do with someone like Jay Crowder being able to pop into the starting lineup and solve their problems. However, Jay Crowder has not played all season long because he is demanding a trade. So, BJ, do you see how this injury is either going to force the Suns and Crowder to reconcile and get Crowder back on the team, or accelerate the timeline of them trading Jay Crowder for someone who can come in and fill that role whilst the fourth-year forward is out? Because he contributes a lot in terms of spacing on offense, especially for players like Chris Paul and Booker, who operate in the mid-range, Ayton as well on the inside. They need those floor spaces and Bridges and Cam Johnson, who shoot a great percentage from outside the arc, to provide that spacing on the offensive end and the switchability on defense. He can hold his own against a few guys, you know, having that switchability on the perimeter. What do you think the fallout from this injury is going to be?
Ironically, I was just in a position to see the Phoenix Suns play live and watch their team and kind of watch what they do. And as long as they're making shots with their perimeter players, Cam Johnson, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, those guys, they're going to be fine. Now, this is going to be a huge loss for them. Why? Because of what you just said. They're down a man now, but they're down two because Jay Crowder, who was the starter last year, is no longer there. And now they are forced now to go to their backup player, who probably wouldn't be in their rotation.
Well, I mean, Torrey Craig can step in. He's a solid
Torrey
player.
Craig, yes.
But he's not
player.
shooting that 40%. Like, I mean, you went to watch the game against the Timberwolves. Was that not the game where Cam Johnson came up with 29 points?
Cam Johnson is playing the game as a small stretch forward. That seems to be the formula for them in this group.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Jay Crowder, Cam Johnson, and then they do center by committee, right? They have, Ayton, Bismack Biyombo was starting, and then they just kind
Jock Landale's been impressive.
Yes, Dario Saric is back playing now. So they have a plethora of bigs to play and fulfill that and really give them good minutes based on how they want to play. You want to play small, you want to play big, you want to stretch the court. So they are fine there. However, I think this Cam Johnson loss, along with Jay Crowder, is really going to affect them because they're down 2 rotational players.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can make up for one, provided everyone else is healthy. Everyone can step their game up. But now you've lost 2 really, really good players who are, both of them in their own right, they're starter caliber players.
Yeah.
And it fits for them. So I think this is going to be a problem for them. However, they do have veterans, CP3 and these guys. They seem to be able to plug in. But I think overall it's going to affect them because, as you know, Mo, I'm a huge proponent of the following. You need talent, but you need depth. And right now they're down 2 in their depth department right now. So I think it's going to affect them. However, they do have players hopefully Torrey Craig and these guys step up.
Yep,
You know,
he's
but
a
they're going to
solid
need
corner 3 shooter. I mean, he can get busy from the rim.
Landry Shamet and Cameron Payne and these guys. These are good players, good NBA players, but they're not on the same caliber as those two. And I think it's going to affect them long term. But you know, we'll see. I don't know what their schedule looks like. Hopefully, you know, Cam Johnson gets back, but I think it's going to really have some level of impact in the win-loss column.
Do you think that there's any way that Jay Crowder and the Phoenix Suns reconcile and Crowder starts playing for the Suns again? He knows the system. I mean, he's got to get up to conditioning wise, but do you think there's any way that he changes his mind now?
You know, and here's my feeling when I was up there. I think they have reached the point of no return as far as the relationship goes, as far as him returning back to Phoenix. And the reason being, I'll say this, is just get right to the point. It's about money. I don't think they are interested, in particularly now with the situation that's going on with their ownership and the sale of the franchise. Mm-hmm. So I don't think there isn't an owner who can say, yes, let's sign him. I think right now they are positioning their team to be sold.
Yeah.
And financially, for their books and for their business of what they're trying to accomplish off the floor, and the sale of this franchise is much more appealing to the buyer, to the future owner, to not have that contract on the books. And it's not about basketball at that point. So I think they've reached that point. I don't think they're going to revisit that. And I think they're looking to move on from that and say, you know what, we're not going to even deal with that because I don't think he has any chance. But that's just what I see. He doesn't have any chance of re-signing back there for a long-term deal.
Well, you know, to go from there to the other end of the spectrum, Phoenix obviously throwing their hat in the ring. They got off to a great start of the season. They're contending. But the Indiana Pacers have had a surprisingly good start to the year. They're 4-5. I mean, I think that's impressive for them considering what we expected. But Chris Duarte is now out 4 to 6 weeks with an ankle sprain. He's obviously a bit of an older player for his second year in the league. Mm-hmm. He's contributed well. Obviously, this accelerates the tanking process, or as you like to say, rebuild. Do you see this race to the bottom actually happening this season? Because all the teams have really looked kind of competitive in terms of the Spurs and the Jazz and the Pacers, who were the teams picked to be the bottom 3 worst teams. How long do you give it until, you know, the Spurs and the Spurs who are 500 and the Jazz, who are 7-3, until they try and bottom out? Because right now, Houston are at the very bottom with 1-9. The Pistons and the Magic are 2-8 respectively. The Hornets are 3-7. How long do you think until teams just say, okay, cool, we've had fun this season, now let's go and get Victor Wembanyama?
Well, I've been thinking about this a lot, watching the first 9 or 10 games or so that the teams are playing, and I'm just doing this off the top of my head. Without question now, Mo, there has been and there is a shift in the NBA. The best players, let's say in the last 4 or 5 years, let's look at the impact they've made in the win-loss column, okay? Look at LeBron James and Anthony Davis, okay? Look at you know, this Kyrie and KD situation. Mm-hmm. When you start looking around the league, there's a shift now going on as far as the impact of what I would say the more experienced or our stars. Yeah. And the reason that's important, and I'm saying this, Mo, is now we're seeing these young players, young, inexperienced players having an impact on the win-loss column in the first 10 games. I'm not so sure now that Utah, okay, you know, all right, everyone has a good week. I'm not sure Utah is not going to play this way for a portion of the season. I'm not so sure that the Indiana Pacers are a team that you're saying is going to be at the bottom. I'm not so sure that these teams that we thought were going to be in the Victor tanking mindset, OKC, these guys are making an impact, these young players. So I think, Mo, the league is shifting. I think now this next generation, and because the league is so young, I think now we are fully, after this year, invested into the following. Here are the best players: Giannis, Jokic. I mean, look at these players. Donovan Mitchell. Look at Donovan Mitchell. This guy now, you're looking at Cleveland going,
he's putting himself in an MVP race.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Mo. You can see now that there's a new wave now coming. And when Victor comes into this league, it's brand new now. Because Rudy Gobert and these players, they're not having the impact that they once had.
It's a changing of the guard.
It's a changing, Mo, absolutely. And I think we have to get ourselves ready. So I've kind of really opened up to how I'm looking at this going, who are these young players? I mean, those young players for Indiana, they're not bad, Mo.
I've been telling you about Halliburton. He's that young kid, baller.
What's the young kid from the University of Arizona? The young kid, he's terrific.
The rookie, Benedict.
Rookie, yes, he's terrific. Terrific. Yeah. Now I'm convinced this kid is for real. You know, I've watched him now 3-4 games now, and I'm going, okay, this kid is for real. So at any, they may not have the experience.
He's putting up 20 off the bench as a rookie. That smashes the current record. The current record is Marvin Bagley with 14 points. No, Ben Gordon, I think actually. Ben Gordon, rookie of the year, when he was the sixth man, 15 points a game. If Mathurin keeps this up, he's going in the history books.
I've watched this kid. He caught my eye in preseason. I've been watching him in the regular season. He's coming off the bench, and he's doing this just on. So you're seeing inexperienced players now catching a rhythm where you didn't see that often, but you're seeing it more and more frequently. And what you're seeing, the older players now, they don't have the impact like they once had on the winning and losing in this league. So it's a changing moment. And I think we are here now, and that's where we're at.
Well, life comes full circle because Rudy Gobert is back in the health and safety protocol. As the first player who was when the NBA triggered COVID. I was listening to JJ Redick's show. I don't listen to it that much anymore. But I was listening to Donovan Mitchell on the JJ Redick show talking about that night that the league got shut down. And it was pretty interesting, the story that he had to tell, that they were just held in the locker room in Oklahoma City for hours and hours on end. And Chris Paul sent a bunch of wine and some meals to those guys. And they were just drinking, saying to the guys, anyone who was on a team who had a cough or a cold, stay over there in the corner and don't come near us. So that's a pretty interesting story. Rudy's back in the health and safety protocols. One injury that's come up is Pascal Siakam, who's going to be reevaluated in a few weeks with a muscle strain, which is a shame because he was putting up great numbers. But I think this is a great chance here for the Raptors, for OG and Scottie Barnes in particular, to really continue to step up in doing what they're doing and let this team grow. Because I keep watching this Raptors team and I think, like, they're a really good team. They're once again in a position where they're just like one piece away. But this time, I don't think that one piece has to be from Kawhi Leonard or someone of that caliber coming in via trade. I just think either Scotty or OG or one of these guys has to take the step up, or Siakam continue to build on what he did earlier this season. And then once you get a bona fide star on that team, then they're really going to be a difficult matchup in the playoffs, especially given the way that they play basketball. But speaking of that Raptors build of, you know, like we always talk about it, the athletic defenders to get out and run. The Orlando Magic sit at the bottom of the conference at 2-8. But I wanted to show them some love because they're 2-8. But every time I watch them, they're really competing. Like the game on Saturday night against the Kings where De'Aaron Fox scored a ridiculous buzzer beater from the logo. I don't know if you called that one. He scored a ridiculous buzzer beater from the logo in overtime. But the Orlando,
I didn't do. Who did that?
De'Aaron Fox did that.
Who? I couldn't hear you, Mo.
Yeah.
Did you say that one more time?
De'Aaron Fox.
De'Aaron Fox.
He gave
the team that I picked to go to the playoffs this year. I mean, De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah. He gave them their third win of the season to move up to 12th in the West. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. Meanwhile, the guy that they traded, Tyrese Halliburton, and the Pacers are sitting 7th in the East, but he hit an amazing game winner. But what I love to see was the Orlando Magic fighting until the very end and almost winning the game. It's not like they're getting blown out completely.
Well,
they're competing, and especially this kid Paolo. It's like the game against the Warriors. I don't know if we spoke about it on the show. We watch people play against the Warriors, and we say, "Yo, get on the block and post up Draymond." Draymond's a great defender. Don't get me wrong, but this rookie went in, caught the ball on the block a few times down the stretch, and went to work against Draymond Green. I'm really impressed by the Orlando Magic. I don't think they're going to win a lot of games, but they're building the foundational steps in the right way.
I'm going to say this about the Orlando Magic, and they are a team. They are an impressive looking team in the airport, first of all. Okay. When you see this team up close with Bol and what's the other big kid? Mo Bamba.
Oh, Mo Bamba.
Mo Bamba, Wendell Carter, Paolo, and I want to stop right there.
Wagner.
Paolo, okay, great pick. Up until the draft, I really wasn't sure who the number 1 pick was, but this kid has a game. This kid has a body for the NBA, and that's great scout. That's why you scout, is because up until about an hour before the draft, I don't think anyone knew who was going to be the first pick.
Everyone thought it was going to be Jabari Smith. It's weird because it was like Paolo, and then about 2 months before the draft, it's just Jabari Smith. And I think maybe the Magic started leaking that kind of stuff to take the attention away. But
then you had Chet. You had Chet was in there. He was floating around there. He ended up getting drafted second. So, but when you watch this kid Paolo, he's got a game. Okay, he's going to do nothing but get better and better and better. Now, let me, talk to our listeners and talk to our audience, because the audience knows it's our little secret that we have. I love the 7-footers.
Yes.
And Bol right now, Bol
BJ,
has to be so.
Every time the Magic are on, the fans tweet me saying, "Yo, BJ's loving this," or they're in the Discord server telling me BJ's loving this. Join the Discord server through the link in the bio, by the way.
Okay, I'm telling you, this kid Bol, that's the future of the NBA, ladies and gentlemen. If he wouldn't have gotten hurt, and somehow he would have been playing over the last 2 or 3 years, this kid is a talent. He's a real talent. Knock on wood that he stays healthy. I hope that this young man can just stay healthy, because I want to see Bol and Victor play against each other. And I want to get rid of the other 8 players and just let those guys play on one-on-one full court, because that would be so fun and so interesting, because that's the future of our league. This kid Bol right now, he's figuring out something. And at some point, him and Paolo at that position are going to be impactful enough to impact winning. You can see right now they are competitive at home. They are competitive at home now.
Yep.
Okay. They may not win, but you know what? When you go down to Orlando, you go, "Hey man, if we're not careful, they can beat us," because Paolo and Bol and Wendell Carter, Suggs, they're all capable. And they don't even have Markelle Fultz back. Suddenly, if they can just keep going, they can figure out something, because Paolo has given them an identity. He is a nice player. Okay. He's a really nice player. Great job by the Magic staff down there. And then the wild card in all of this is Bol. Mm-hmm. But I get so excited with Bol. I mean, Bol is just a highlight waiting to happen. Mm-hmm. He's fun. He's exciting. And I'm telling you, Mo, if he can get through this season healthy, oh my goodness, watch out next year.
Man, I'm loving it. I'm loving the Magic. I'm really having fun this season, BJ. When we keep it on the court and we talk about all these teams,
right?
I'm having fun. I'm losing sleep, but I'm having fun, because this is all types of crazy. I'm intrigued this week to see what happens with the Golden State Warriors, because the Warriors have become the first team in NBA history to start 0-6 on the road after winning a championship the previous year. They're on a
Yeah,
5-game losing
to change of guards, Mo. It's the change of the guard. I mean, this is Mo. Think about this: Steph Curry, LeBron James.
I mean,
James
Steph's
Harden.
been putting up ridiculous numbers, but it's just not getting them wins.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. Like it's what's the impact on winning and losing now? It's changing right in front of us. It's changing on how you win in this league. It's just not putting up 25 or 30 points.
I had the funniest quote this week. I want to end this with this. Did you see the quote from Giannis this week? It really made me laugh.
What did he say?
He goes,
What did he say?
I cannot have everything in life. I cannot be handsome, have beautiful kids, beautiful wife, great family, great teammates, great coaching staff, handsome again, athletic. I can't make threes too. God said, basically, you can't make threes. You can't shoot. I got to keep you humble.
I got one word: facts.
But here's the thing. And I'll say it every year. But that 3-ball is coming.
Oh,
that 3-ball is the one thing I've seen from Giannis this year, aside from the shooting. His bag, when we talk about bag, we talk about his handles, right? His handles have really improved.
Yes.
You know, if you do a great job of Giannis and you can slide your feet and somehow stay in front of him, somehow. Okay, cool. Well done. Now he's putting out these heads. He's through the legs behind the back. Oh, man. Oh man. You see,
before we get out of here, Mo, I watched the Saturday night. I watched your Boston Celtics in Madison Square in New York.
Yes.
Interesting.
A franchise record of threes. If I'm not mistaken, every player who played hit a 3. And it was go ahead.
I was just say the one that was very impressive is Brogdon.
Yeah.
Malcolm Brogdon was a good pickup, and you guys are going to miss Danilo Gallinari.
Yes,
you're going to miss that. But it was the right move. Yeah, that was you look at the team, you're going, God, if they had Danilo and Malcolm back along with the Time Lord, it's over. I was like, those were the right moves.
Yeah,
it was Malcolm Brogdon. What a nice addition to the team.
Especially against the Knicks. The Celtics hit franchise record of 27 threes in the game. Previous record was 25.
Kid, I can't even think the kid.
Sam Hauser
had like 4. Oh man,
he looks like Gordon. When you're watching the game, you think it's Gordon Hayward, right? Because they look.
The kid. Well, he didn't hit the net that night.
But this is what I want to say about Brogdon: is he gets 2 feet in the paint and collapses the defense, and he swings that ball right out to the corner. It's just beautiful to see. Like Derek White is great coming off the bench, but Derek White and Brogdon coming off the bench. Man, if Gallo would stay healthy.
If Gallo, I was thinking, how come they wouldn't consider Carmelo?
See, I wanted Carmelo on the Celtics all summer long. I think the Celtics should go and sign Carmelo Anthony and Dwight Howard. That's what I want to see happen. Dwight Howard, just until Rob Williams can come back, just to protect the rim a little bit and save Al Horford's legs just a little bit. Okay? And Carmelo Anthony, just a little bit of scoring. Just a little bit.
Melo. I was looking at, listen, he played well in this game. Don't get me wrong, the kid Blake Griffin. He played well in the game I watched.
The kid.
But yeah. I mean, he did. To me, he's a kid. But he played well in that game. However, I don't know, because I don't think that when the Time Lord comes back, he is without question the starter. But you don't want to have a log jam there. But those are good. If Danilo doesn't get hurt, he was the perfect player for that team.
Yes. Shout out to the Celtics.
He really was. I was like, I got to give the Celtics credit on that. But I'm really liking them. I like what they're doing. They're playing a nice brand of basketball. I like they play faster. I do like that. They play much faster than they did a year ago. I can't tell whether or not they're defending at the same pace or the same style.
They're not defending the same.
They're
not defending anywhere close to the same, and the offense has carried the wins.
Well, you can't play that fast and expect to defend. So that's unfair. That's unfair.
Mm-hmm.
But the Time Lord is not there either.
Yeah.
So and now I'm sold on how effective he is as a player.
So we got an interesting week coming up in the NBA. Monday night tonight, every team is going to be in action. We've got 15 games. All 30 teams are going to be hitting the hardwood. The Celtics have got the Grizzlies, which is going to be an epic matchup. There's a few matchups to keep an eye on around the league. The Suns and the Sixers, the Hawks and the Bucks again. We got a few interesting ones. Luka versus the Nets is always fun to watch. But then there's no games on the 8th, Election Day or something, I believe, in the US. But then, BJ, do you know what's happening?
Yes. Do
you know what's happening on the 9th of November?
Yes.
What's happening? No. That's on the 8th.
Oh, okay.
What's happening on the 9th? This is bigger than the vote.
I have no idea.
It's my Celtics and your Pistons. Head to head. Head to head.
You guys
on
are
my
sleep
birthday. Yeah.
Is that your birthday? The night? Is ninth your birthday?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh Mo.
Yeah. So
we gotta get birthday wishes out to you.
Hey, no. We just gotta take the W. That's all I care about. I'm gonna have to tell you, put the call into Brad and tell the team to not let me down on this one, because I can't turn up on my birthday and have you celebrate a Pistons win over my Celtics. That's what can't happen. Okay, it's gonna be a great week of basketball ahead of us. Make sure you guys do not go anywhere. Make sure you subscribe to the show, leave a review, leave a rating. We're gonna be here every morning, nice and early for you, bringing you everything you need to know from the world of the NBA. Hit the link in our bio to join the Discord server, join the conversation. Also, while you're there, get your copy of NBA 2K23, who support the show. Most importantly, over everything else, the vibes, get buckets.